AutoCAD 1-2D Drafting, Boston Architectural College, and in this video I want to take a little time to dig a little deeper into what we did last week and show some options for what we did last week and explain kind of what's going on behind the scenes. So I'm going to open up our pulley plate drawing here, and as you remember, part of this exercise that we did in the video exercise was we had to create these circles around the middle point here, and we did it by simply clicking on a circle and copying it. Well, we can do it a different way, and what I'm going to do first is get rid of all those circles, and I can do that by doing a right click and then pick on Quick Select, and the Quick Select dialog opens up, and you'll see here that it's looking at the entire drawing and it's looking at multiple objects. If I pull that down, it's going to list all of the objects that exist in our drawing. So we have a polyline, line, circle, and those are the objects that exist. So I'm going to click on Circle, and then once I do that, under Properties, all of the properties, oops, okay, thank you Lenovo, goodbye. All of the properties that are related to a circle that I can choose for a circle are listed here. So the very simple one that's the most common is the radius. I'm going to click on the radius, and then you'll see down here the operator equals, and I'm going to put in the radius of our little circles, 0.25. And then it's going to create a new selection set. Click OK. And sure enough, all of the 0.25 radius circles in our drawing are selected. So now to get rid of them, all I have to do is type in E, enter, and they're gone. Okay, so I still have to create at least one circle to start our copy operation. So to do that, I can use one of our existing circles. I mean, I could draw the circle all over again, or I can take an existing object like this circle and modify it. So I'm going to copy this one over, this 9/16 circle, to our radius, our circular center line here. Click on it to select it, and then right click, and on the pop-up we'll see Properties. The Properties dialog will open, and you'll see that the circle is listed at the top. We've chosen a circle, and then below this are all of the properties that are associated to this object. So I can click on diameter here, and I'm allowed to change it. So I can put in the 0.25 and hit enter, and sure enough, that's not right. Oh, I know what I did wrong. I chose diameter instead of radius, so I'm going to type in U, escape to deselect, type in U, and our original circle is back. I'm going to try it again. Click on that, select it. You'll see on the Properties dialog the circle is chosen, and what I want is the radius. So click on the radius line, type in 0.25, enter, and then escape a couple of times to deselect the grips, and sure enough, there we have our circle with 0.25 radius snap to the intersection of the circular center line and the radial center line. I'm going to close the Properties dialog, and now instead of doing what we did last week where we simply copied that around using the copy command, I'm going to use something called the array command. I'll go up here to the modify palette, or modify panel rather, and we see that we have a polar array, which is exactly what we need to work with. So I'm going to click on that. It says to select objects on the command line. I'm going to click on the circle. I'm going to zoom in a little bit with my scroll wheel, and then hit enter. And then it asks for the center of my polar array, so I'm going to snap to the center of the circle. And you'll see it automatically displays a bunch of circles, displayed copied circles around this circular center line. Now obviously they're not right, so we need to make some changes, and the way we do that is down on the command line we see a bunch of options in our square brackets there, and one of them is items. So if I click on the word items, right now it's showing 6, but I know I need 8, so I'm going to hit enter, and sure enough we have 8 items, and because we're working with a 360 degrees, 8 into that means everything is located at 45 degrees. So what happens, just to show what would happen if I change the included angle, or the fill angle rather, to something other than 180, click on it there, I'm sorry, other than 360, typed in 180 there and hit enter, you'll see that it makes all of our circles, our 8 circles, fit the 180 degrees, and notice where it starts and goes around counterclockwise. Again, positive rotation for AutoCAD is counterclockwise. So obviously that's not right for us, but we can quickly change that back by going back to fill angle down at the bottom there on the command line. Click on the fill angle. Change our 180 back to the 360, the full circle, and we get everything located exactly where we wanted it. Now, the last thing we need to do is deal with this associative issue here, the associative option, because an array in AutoCAD is a continuous object. It's one complex object. So you'll see I can click on one point here and I can modify things or drag things around because they're all related to each other. They're all one object. But I don't want that because I want to be able to get rid of that one little circle. So I'm going to click on the associative and it's saying the default is no. I'm going to hit enter to accept that and then enter again to get out of the array command. And now I can do a simple erase. Click on that circle, erase, enter, and it's gone, and we're back to the same setup that we had last week. Again, using a different method, but AutoCAD provides many different methods to get the same result. So here's another option we could have used. So just to quickly recap, what we did in that little demonstration is we used the Quick Select application to be able to select many objects of the same type in it based on the properties of those objects. So objects were circles, so they had a certain property, they had a radius. We could select a whole group of them based on that. And then once we selected one, we were able to use the properties of that object by doing the right click. Once selecting the object, doing a right click and opening up the properties dialog or the properties palette. And using the properties palette, we could actually edit that object. And then lastly, we use the array command, the array to create multiple copies of the same object in a certain pattern, and we were able to control that by the options available on the command line. Another thing we spent some time on in the drawing video that we did last week, in week 2, was creating layers, assigning colors, and then putting those objects on those layers so they pick up the colors. So here on our drawing we see our cyan, magenta, and what have you, and here we have the layer manager with all the layers that we created for the different objects, center lines, detail, text, and the colors we assign to them. So we see all those colors reflected on the screen. Why do we do this? Well, obviously on the screen it helps us to visually organize things, and we saw that we could freeze things and when we wanted to make our polyline object out of our basic object. But the other reason we do it in AutoCAD is that this is how AutoCAD controls the published or printed line weight. So if I go up to the App Manager, go to the Print option, and you'll see an option here that says Manage Print Styles, Plot Styles. We open that up, and this is kind of like the Templates directory in that it's hidden. But we have one here called BAC-ACAD standard.ctb. CTB is a color file, color table. And if we open that up, we can see what is essentially what's happening in our drawing, or why we've picked those colors. So we see the colors across the top. Here they're just given numbers. Red is color 1, yellow color 2, etc. all the way across. They are set to black. What that means is when we plot them, they will plot as a black line. So they'll all be black. However, down here on the line weight, you'll see that each one is assigned a different size in millimeters. So color 7, or white on our screen, is 1 millimeter, so it's the heaviest line weight. Color 4, the cyan, is 0.5, so it's the next heaviest, about half the size of the white. And then so on down the line, we see the different amounts of weight applied to each color. So we can close that and close that. And if we open up the PDF that I distributed last week and we zoom into one corner of it here, the same corner we were looking at in our AutoCAD drawing, it kind of becomes pretty obvious that the line weights on this drawing are different. So our object is heavier, our circle detail is a little lighter, and our center line is lighter still. So that's why color is important. And then here is text, and that's a yellow color, center line magenta. So that is why we go through the process of assigning these colors to objects in AutoCAD, is that it helps us when the actual plotting or printing takes place, as well as organize our drawing on the screen. Okay, that's all I wanted to address in this little short video. We'll get on with some more. Thanks for watching.